is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by and checking out this channel. Real quick up front here, because I like to get this out of the way. If you didn't mind sometime during the video hitting a like on the video, possibly subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and if you are new here, welcome. Thank you very much. We like to talk about karts and tires and all sorts of really cool stuff involving kart racing on this channel. And thank you, just for finding me on the internet. That's great. So back to basics. Again, I haven't done one of these videos in a while. I get kind of tied up in this whole tire thing and prep and this, and it's a lot of it. Tires are a lot of it, but we do need to stick to some of the basics for the newbies, for people coming in that just don't know how everything kind of works. I built the BRC cart that is on the Recon. I'm looking at the scythe over here. I really need to get on the scythe, and I've been holding off on doing the scythe because I need to change the tie rods. And I thought, you know what? We're going to do that. I'm going to explain what it is involved in changing a tie rod on a kart chassis. So I usually point over here. I forgot that. You know how professional I am. That's how I roll. So I'm going to dive up close, probably do some handheld stuff, maybe angle this down whilst I'm working on the scythe. But before all that, you're not going to catch any of it. I am got to clean up because I don't know if you know this about building karts, building bodies, doing all this stuff, zip ties. They're everywhere. They're freaking everywhere, man. So, yeah, give me 1 second here, which will literally be a second to you, and we'll get to getting on changing these tie rods. All right, everyone, here we are, dove down, and we're taking a look at changing. We're going to change both sides, but I'll probably only do one because this one's just shorter than this one. So we're going to do the right side. Now, I do have it, mostly undone here, but to start, I'm going to mount my camera up, aka my phone. But I wanted you to see this first. This is, once you see me, down here, what I'm undoing is this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe these are 9/16. Normally they're 9/16. I run a bigger tank, if you're wondering why the head of this bolt is actually taken down. So I run bigger tanks for my UAS. So it needed clearance on something I had in there. So I have a tendency always to do that. But you're going to see me remove that safety pin and then take that off, and I'll explain what's going on. But I'm going to get you in the tripod here just so I can have my hands free and do some work for you. Okay, now that I have my hands free, as you can see here, I'm going to do just that. So we're going to come under here. This might be a cotter key on some of your guys's, but I have these, quick little clip here. And I checked real quick here. They are, in fact, 9/16, or 14 if you happen to be using metric. And we're going to loosen. Of course, I twist my... It's been a while since these puppies have been off here. Straighten that back up. Anyway, we're going to take this off. Your castle nut's on the bottom side of this. And it's been on there a while, so she's got some crunchies going on. It's just, for somebody who makes YouTube videos on kart maintenance and stuff, sometimes I find myself being a little behind. I mean, I do. Maybe I live a little bit of a busy lifestyle, work and everything else, family and what have you. Sometimes things get overlooked, but to make videos for you guys is making sure that I get my maintenance done. So, as you can see here, here's your castle nut and a washer on the bottom. Now, the way these are set up is you're going to have washers in between these ends. So, as you push through, keep in mind that you're going to have washers. You need separation in between these ends. All right. So we're going to pop it off here, and as you notice, this top one, and they're going to be falling all over the place, but I'm going to have washers. All this stuff needs to be cleaned up. Just kind of get that out of the way. But keep that in mind when you go and and put this back together to make sure that these can't function properly without the washers in between, because you don't need them banging against one another. This was already loose from me doing the video on changing a spindle. So there's that. All right. And I obviously use my belly pan here. So there's nothing really wrong that I felt with these Heims, but they do, there could be. The reason people replace these parts is every little bit counts. So if there's this one's pretty free. One was in the center. This is a little tighter. So this is taking a little more abuse in here. It gets worn out, and then they start to shuck a little bit. Your steering isn't as accurate. You get your front end moves without you're holding the wheel still, but you'll have some front end shake, which takes speed out of the cart. So normally, what I do is just replace these Heims. But we wanted, my cart partner and I wanted to have backup, so this will become a backup. I'll clean these ends up, lubricate them, and set them to the side in case, God forbid, something happens at track. But he just went and bought brand new ones. Now, one of the things here, give me a second, I need sorry about that. Realized I didn't have a rag here to wipe off anything. All right. So the thing about these Heim ends is, one turns to the right, so if I'm rotating, hopefully this is, it's not backwards on the camera. I'm actually rotating this as if it were lefty-loosey, and it is not. It's tightening. So this is a left-hand thread, so when I turn it right, it's righty-loosey. So these are going to be opposite. We're going to switch this around, and this would be lefty-loosey, and so that's why they work. So as you turn this one direction, both of these will either extend or go back in, and that's how a tie rod works. So your adjustment when you're setting toe, you can you don't have to worry about undoing the ends and screwing them in and stuff. You would loosen these lock nuts. It's not the right term for them. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me. But you loosen those up, and then you go ahead and just turn the shaft here. There's a flat spot that you would put your 9/16 on. I believe that's still 9/16. Yep, 9/16 on. You would rotate that while it's in the cart, and then it'll extend or decrease both of these sides at the same time, because one's left-hand thread, one's right-hand thread. So to put these back in, it's just the same like I said in the beginning there. I got more washers. You're going to want to clean this all up. You might want to, grab some cleaner of such. I mean, it's a little greasy, but not too awful bad. Now, there are multiple holes on your steering shaft here. That is going to, I haven't really played with it, honestly. I would love to, I could probably tell you in theory what would happen if you put it in the top hole or the back hole. So in theory, real quick here, this is going to make your steering faster, so this might be something I'd use for indoors. To whereas the long would make, that's the longer makes a smoother transition with your hand. So a little bit of input's only going to add a little bit of input to your front end. To where I think if you move this, more towards the shaft, that's going to make those little movements quicker. I never really play with it. I always keep it in the same thing. It's, I just adapt my style of driving to whatever the steering is, whether that be right or wrong. I'm sure that there are better people at understanding the ins and outs and what they can do. Maybe it makes a bigger difference on, some of the faster tracks, some of the higher grip down south tracks. That might be a thing. But up here and up north, where we have so many, basically potholes and tracks, that little discrepancies like that really, I don't think are going to make that big of a difference. But anyway, I'm just going through here while I'm talking, kind of cleaning up my washers here. And then I would come back in. I'm going to take my new tie rod here. I'm going to come in, and how about we rotate this way, just so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to put a washer. Then I'm going to put my tie rod. And then I'm going to put another washer or two. I believe this may have been the way it came. Two, just to get good separation between the two heims. Okay, put those two in, and then you'd put your other tie rod in there, and then put your washer on the bottom, and then your nut. And it's really just that simple. Now, a tip I'll give you real quick here is if you're in a pinch or something like me, I'm going to mimic, because I know this is close to square. This one I just took out, if you're actually, replacing the whole thing, this is close to square on my right front, or where my toe would be. Obviously, I'm going to go back on the scales. I'm going to go ahead and set my toe again, but I'm already going to start by winding these down and getting them as close as possible to that, so you have a good starting point, that it's not going to be that big of an adjustment when you go to scale your cart. So there you go, guys. I mean, I'd reassemble this, but I have to take that side apart, and I have to do this regardless, and I could bring you along for the ride. Maybe I will bring you along for the ride. Maybe I'll do something different with a camera here and just not talk. So, all right, guys, we're gonna pop up top, and I'll give you an outro. All right, bye. Okay, so there you go. We changed some tie rods. Pretty exciting stuff, huh? I know that everybody isn't as mechanically inclined as some other people. Some other people like myself, I work on cars for a living, so this is second nature to me to understand, why things work and the way things go together. The basic premise behind anything that you're working on, as far as cart or, other things for that matter, is when you're taking it apart, pay attention and put it back together like you took it apart. It's a puzzle. You take apart the puzzle, you put the puzzle back together the way you took it apart. It's really that simple. But understanding, the way that the center shaft will twist on the high ends and stuff like that. Maybe you didn't know that. Maybe it's something that you never even thought about. But hopefully this video did you some justice, and it would help if you need to change that tie rod on your own cart. Hopefully this points you in the right direction to where you're not, afraid to do so, or in a panic that you have to have somebody else do it for you. So there you go, changing tie rods, and I hope that helped, and thank you very, very much for stopping by yet again, and we'll catch you like Thursday or something for another video, because I have been doing it pretty regular now. All right, guys, catch you later.